Good afternoon, everybody. I am so pleased and honored to have my good friend, and I called her the queen of the nonprofit in Loudoun County, Jennifer Montgomery. She is the president and CEO of Loudoun Hunger Relief. Jennifer, thank you for being here today. We are so glad to have you. A lot going on in Loudoun Hunger Relief, great things, a lot of stories we will love you to share with us. But before we go to all this, tell me a little bit quick about how long you've been with Loudoun Hunger Relief and how did you get there?
Sure, thank you. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you to you and to your team at You've Got Maids, because you all are great supporters of Loudoun Hunger Relief, and you're a board member, so thank you for your service on our board. And you all have a great team that comes and helps us keep our offices and our space clean every week, so thank you for helping us do that. It's important to us that we have a really, a nice office for the people where we work and our volunteers, but also that we have a clean, dignified space to be able to serve our community, and so your team helps us to do that. So thank you, that's important. So a little bit about me and how I got to Loudoun Hunger Relief. Loudoun Hunger Relief is at the cusp of celebrating its 35th year of service to our community, and so I think that's really exciting and a testament to the fact that we provide food in our communhad we're serving people. And I'm sorry that 35 years later there's still a need for that. I wish that we had come farther in really mitigating hunger in our community. I think we can all agree that nobody should be hungry in this country and in our county, and unfortunately people are. So the good news is that we have a really caring community that wants to ensure that people have enough to eat and they have enough access to good food. So we feel really fortunate to be able to offer those services to our neighbors, and that we have such great support from our community. So for me, I've been at Loudoun Hunger Relief, it'll be I think 13 years in September, which is hard to believe. I'm a Loudoun native, so I was born and raised in Leesburg, and I always feel like I have to say I got out. Then I came back, and now I'm raising my family here, and my extended family's here, my parents are still here, and so Loudoun is my home, and it's where I like to live and work and play and be a part of our community. My kids are in Loudoun County Public Schools. I'm a product of Loudoun County Public Schools, so I'm just really proud of our community, and I feel like my heart is here in Loudoun.
Thank you for all your service. 13 years. Wow, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
Tell us
lucky number 13.
I
right?
know. Tell us about a little bit about Loudoun Hunger Relief in general. What you do? We know a lot of great things happening. Can you share with us programs? And I know we're going to talk after that about events, because there's great stuff coming in too.
Yes.
But we know the need of the county. If you can share with us.
Sure. So Loudoun Hunger Relief we have 2 locations. Mm-hmm. We are an organization.
Congratulations of the Sterling
Thank
location.
you. We opened a second Sterling location, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Loudoun Hunger Relief was formed with a really simple mission, and that was just to feed the hungry, right? And so 35 years ago, that looked like a collection of different faith congregations working together with our Department of Family Services in order to meet the need. And then as the need grew, so did the need for an independent not-for-profit. And so that's sort of how that started. And then here we are 35 years later with 2 locations. Last year, we distributed a little under 3 million pounds of food to Loudoun residents. That's about 2.5 million meals. And of that, about 850,000 pounds of that was fresh produce. So one of the things that we really feel strongly about is, yes, we want to make sure that you get food, but we also want to make sure that you get food that is healthy and nurturing for your family and meets dietary restrictions that you might have, or cultural things that you might need. If there's a certain food that your family likes to eat and my family doesn't like to eat, I'm not really helping you if I'm giving you something that you're not going to eat, right? Yeah. And so we want to ensure that there's a lot of choice. So part of that is that we have created in both locations. So we have our Leesburg location that's at 750 Miller Drive in Leesburg, and then our location in Sterling is at 18 Export Drive, and that's alongside our partners at Women Giving Back, and that's an exciting partnership. And both of those locations have a market where people can come in and they can shop for themselves. So you've been there, you know what it looks like. It's like a mini grocery store, and folks can come in and shop through there and get what they need. So that's our core program, and then we also certainly do a lot of things to help other organizations within the community. We have some satellite pantries, we have a mobile market that goes out. We do nutrition and cooking classes. We have partnerships with our library. So there's just a lot of things. We know that hunger is really at the core. That's the most basic need. You were hungry this morning. You're going to be hungry later today. Everybody has to eat.
Necessity.
Yeah, it's absolutely a necessity. And so we want to meet that basic need. And then we also want to figure out what other things can we connect folks to that can help them, you know, have a better life or have better opportunities or have better access to services for their families.
So how I know like kind of like a little bit about the process. Can you a little bit explain? I know you don't do check of any family walking by the door. Everybody is welcome at Loudoun Hunger Relief.
Exactly.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the process?
Sure. So you can call us. You can go online to our website, loudounhunger.org. You can walk in and we will ensure our rule is food first and then questions later, right? And so the only requirement that we have to receive services at Loudoun Hunger Relief is that you live in Loudoun County, and eventually you'll have to show us that you live in Loudoun County. But we don't do any means testing. We ask those questions, but they're all self-attested, and we do collect information just for data sharing purposes, and so we can write grants and we can tell our donors, you know, who we're serving and what we're seeing, and that helps us to make good data-driven decisions about where to serve and who to serve and what sorts of foods to buy and all of those sorts of things, right? But we're not, you know, collecting that information as a judgment, or we're not going to verify your W-2 or ask to see your paycheck or anything like that. We don't. That's all. You just tell us, and we'll take your word for that. So our goal is to make sure that people can eat first, and then to collect that data later. So we do, you can go online and make your own appointment online. You can call us. We generally operate by appointment. We do have walk-in hours at both locations, and all of this information is on the website. So if you've never visited us before and you just want to come see what it's like and you don't necessarily think you want to share information or do that, you can just walk in during our walk-in hours and you can come see, get some food, and then decide if this is the type of service that you'd like to utilize moving forward. And you know, some people come once, they come twice, some people come twice a month consistently for years and years and years, and that's
so
fine
that is
too.
Unlimited.
It's
unlimited time.
You're welcome to come as long as you need our services. So we really feel like we are a conduit between those who want to be able to help in our community and have the ability to do that, and those who need assistance. And everybody needs help sometimes, right? And so the other thing I just would say is that this is a service that is available to anyone that needs it, and none of us ever know when we might hit a bump in the road, or we have to make a tough choice between paying for medication or eating, or paying for food or eating, or putting our child in childcare. I mean, childcare costs are ridiculous. And so so I think, you know, everybody sometimes has a need for a little bit of help, and we just want people to know that this is a service that's available to them.
We know it was tough year on 2025, and it was a lot of need of people lay off, people lost their job, the shutdown and all that, and I know, and thank you very much for putting everything together that to get the need of the community. But talk to me a little bit about the homelessness. We know now it is a big, huge impact in Loudoun County, and it's a big issue. I mean, we, as a business owner, we worry about all these things.
Sure.
And I know that you did buy, I saw something yesterday in your office, you have a meal to go.
Yep.
So can you share with us how
Sure.
the idea came up? And
Sure.
this is great things.
Yes, so it's exciting. I think we have a new grab and go fridge. It's in our lobby in Leesburg, where if you don't have an appointment for the day or you just want to stop in and grab something quick to eat, we have sandwiches and salads and fruit and yogurt and a mix of things that are in there, some water for people to be able to grab. So what we have witnessed at Loudoun Hunger Relief is an increase in unhoused members of our community who are either living in their cars or they're utilizing the drop-in shelter services. And so although we work closely with our friends at Shelter House and with the Loudoun Homelessness Services Center with our county partners, unfortunately homelessness is on the rise here, and we know that housing prices are really expensive in Loudoun, and it's just a real challenge to find affordable workforce housing. And so we have seen that uptick, and as a community, I think we are coming together to figure out ways, as a community, I mean our government partners, our business partners, our philanthropic partners, our nonprofit partners, because I think that homelessness is really solvable in Loudoun, even though it's one homeless person is too many in my opinion, but we have the ability to really make a dent in that. So that work continues, but from a Loudoun Hunger perspective, we wanted to make food easily accessible for people if they needed to come get that on a daily basis. So our grab and go fridge is now in the lobby, and I think it's been great, and they can just come in and get a couple things for the day. We have protein bars and all sorts of stuff, fruits, and to be able to have access to fresh food I think is really important. Like we often think, well, granola bars and cans of tuna and just things like that, but to be able to get a salad and some fruit and with some chicken on top, and to be able to just have something that's nourishing and is helpful. And then we do our best to also connect people to other services and to other things that are out there.
And this is my next question. Yeah. I know that you are not only resources for food, but also for connections in the nonprofit. Can you share with us? We heard a lot of great things you're doing. Like you send people. Some people doesn't know where they need to go, and you are the connectors, and that's great. Can you share with us about?
Sure. So I think for us, we are a trusted location. I think, for example, our schools are a trusted location. Yeah. We hear that a lot from people. And so for families to be able to go to a place where they feel safe, they feel heard, they feel like people know that they're going to be able to get a resource and get good information. I think one of the things that's really hard, and we've all also gone through this, is when you need something and you have to make 4 or 5 or 6 phone calls, right, to get to where you need to be. And that's super frustrating, and we're all limited on time in our day. And if you're already working a couple of jobs and you're taking care of your kids and maybe you're taking care of your mom and you're doing all these things, it could be really frustrating to have to make lots of calls and kind of get nowhere. And so one of the things that we want to do is ensure that we're really getting people to the right people the first time. And make those good referrals. And our community partners also want to do the same thing, right? And we want to trust each other that we're going to be able to make good referrals. So we have such a good network of partners in Loudoun and organizations that are working really hard to ensure people can get to where they need to be. And so a lot of the times we're just on phone calls. I want to share a really great story with you. So we've had a person that's been utilizing our services for food and living in their car for about the last 18 months or so. And so we have kept referring to the drop-in center and to other things, and this individual was using some of those services but just couldn't, was working some of the time and really just sort of making ends meet, but living in this car, and the car needed some repairs, and having to live through the heat of the summer and the bitter cold of the winter, and just not really a place. Everybody would like to have a bed and a home. So we were on a call talking about the increased needs of the unhoused that we have been seeing, and one of our community partners wrote a grant and has a new program that's launching, and we were able to connect this individual with that program. And so starting in July, they will begin this year-long program where they will have sort of efficiency style housing for 89 days. And then and in the meantime, they're going through sort of a case management with this other organization. And then they get to move into sort of apartment style, and then they get to they will help them on their journey. So for us, it was just a referral to this program, and then it's up to that person to sort of keep that going. But I feel like to even have that opportunity is a good one, and they would not have known about that program if they hadn't been coming to us for food. We wouldn't have known about that program if that partner was not a part of community discussions and collaborating with other organizations. So it takes all of those things together. That's why they kind of call it a safety net, which sounds a little silly, but we all make the strings in the net, right, to help hold up our neighbors. And so there's a lot of just really good work that's happening among our human service providers.
Yeah, and always behind the scene, because people won't think about, they think about Loudoun Hunger Relief, just come and get food if you need. But there is a lot behind the scene. And you have a great team. I just want to shoot out all team behind you, Jennifer. It's great.
Yeah.
And all when they get all together, I mean, this is unbelievable great. So thank you very much for everything you are doing, you and your staff, your team.
And our volunteers. We should talk about the fact you're a volunteer.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And your team volunteers a lot too. So we have about 350 volunteers annually. We could not do what we do without our volunteers. The service hours that they provide are equal to about $250,000 a year in service, and that's not staff that we could hire. So even if I hired, say, 7 full-time people, they could not do the work that those 350 volunteers do, right? Yes, and so that's only one component of it. We also have corporate partners like you all, and who bring teams in and do one-off events for us, and packing and food collection and all those sorts of things, and that's really important too. So I think, our volunteers are just so vital, from our board members to our daily folks, who answer the phone. I just left, and our beloved volunteer that's been there for 1,000,000 years, Gail Collins, was there answering the phone, and she was our Shining Star Award winner this year at our volunteer appreciation event. And so, I love hearing her kind voice on the phone, talking with people and helping to get them connected to what they need.
Let's talk about events. I know there is one big event coming in next year, but also there is another event. It's really happening in November. So talk to us a little bit about event and what you need. How, as a business owner, I know sponsorship, but what else also? How can we help on event you're planning?
So we actually don't hold that many events, which is, traditionally not something that we've needed to do, but we felt like with the 35th anniversary, there were some opportunities to do some things. So the one event that happens in November every year that we're really proud of is our partnership with the town of Leesburg, and that is our Freeze Your Gizzard 5K race. And so that happens with the town. It's at Ida Lee. It's a great course. It almost sold out last year, I think, and it's a great place to come and run. So we're still looking for sponsors. If anyone's interested in helping sponsor that, it's just a great way to kick off the Thanksgiving and the holiday season. You can walk it if you want, or you can get out and run, and it's exposure to a lot of people. And then we're really grateful to our friends at Parks and Rec for organizing that for the town of Leesburg. So that's always a great thing. And then in the spring, we're looking at a 35th anniversary gala. And so there will be more forthcoming about that, and sort of some opportunities to help there, and welcoming our community in to help us celebrate 35 years of good work in our community.
Jennifer, for 13 years, I probably, if I would say, I don't know how many things you accomplish on LHR, but is that one thing you will say every night when you go to bed, if you're thinking about LHR, you will say that the only thing, or the most thing, I was so proud that it has been accomplished on your term, the 13 years?
I think, and there has been a lot that's happened over the years.
Absolutely.
I think the fact that every day that we are open, we can go home and know that someone got to eat that day because we were open, and that we worked to make sure there was good, fresh, healthy food for people to be able to have. That at the end of the day is all, at the end of the day, that's all we really care about. Everything else is great, and our spaces are beautiful, and our market is so lovely, and we have a wonderful fleet of trucks, and we have 1 million volunteers, and we have all these wonderful things that help make all of that possible. But at the end of the day, when someone's walking out with a full cart of groceries and they're on their way home to feed their families and to sit down together at the table and have a meal just like all of the rest of us, or sit in front of the TV and watch their favorite show, or whatever it is that they want to do, to know that we had a hand in making that happen, that's really it for me. That's really it for me. The rest of it's wonderful, and it is a vehicle to that, but our mission is to ensure that people have access to food, and that's what we work toward every day.
So we know we have Leesburg, we have Sterling. Any plan next 3-4 years for more expansion, or because you're always for next?
So
next.
What I think people might find really interesting is that that the latest census data shows us that the highest level of food insecurity in our county is actually in the Ashburn zip codes, and I think people might be surprised by that. So hunger, unfortunately, is up 30% over the last couple of years. Food insecurity is up, and the usage of food pantries and food banks is also up. The other thing that's really interesting is that people who are utilizing our services tend to be working families and people who are making between $50,000 and $100,000 a year. And so what we know is that the cost of groceries have gone up. We know that rent prices in the county have gone up 43% over the last 6 years since 2020. And the average to have a baby in a center child care is $21,000 a year. That's very expensive. And so wages have not kept up with, salaries have not kept up with that type of growth. The cost of food is more expensive, gas is more expensive right now. And so all of those things coupled together make it really challenging for families to be able to continue to make their budget. And then it just takes sort of a blip, right? A tire that needs to be replaced, then you have to replace 2 tires, or something happens with your car, or a home repair, or a medical, yes, if you get a toothache and then suddenly you have a dental bill that you weren't expecting. And so the message that I want to make sure that everybody knows is that we are open to anyone. And so we're not interested in the car that you're driving or what that looks like. If you have a need for food for your family or for yourself, then we would encourage you to come get it. And whether that is for a limited period of time or for a little bit longer, we certainly hear from people who have come to see us through a tough season, and then will write to us and say, thank you so much, I don't need your services anymore, but I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to use them when I did. That's fantastic. We want to be there when you have that problem. And then also, if this is just something that we're helping you and you're sort of building us into your budget monthly because that's how you're going to get through to pay your bills, then that's fine too. Then come see us and get the food that you need, and help care for your family. So we want to be that resource for people. So when you're asking what's next, I would say that we're sort of open, right? We knew that we had certainly people can get to Leesburg, but we knew that we had folks in Ashburn and Sterling and in the eastern end of the county that needed access. So we've opened that second location in Sterling. Works exactly the same as Leesburg. You can make appointments. We have some walk-in hours. And then I think for us, we're thinking about where else do we need to help have food, right? So we have some partners that we work with. We have satellite pantries. We support some efforts in Lovettsville. We support some efforts in We have a partnership with HealthWorks of Northern Virginia, which is our community health center. There's a pantry there. We have a partnership with True Ground, which is a income qualified apartment complexes. We have a great relationship with Inova and their community care clinics and a variety of other things. We operate a produce hub during the summer, so our partnerships with the JK Community Farm out in Percival and PEC's Community Farm in Roundabout Meadows, which is down in the southern end of the county at Govert's Corner. All of those, come together. We pick up that produce and then we distribute that out to partners. So in addition to direct service, we want to make sure that there's access points all over the place, and so we help to support those efforts and to get food and to produce into some other places. So we've got a lot of long-standing partnerships, including our partnership with Loudoun Education Foundation. They have their Fuel Ed program. Our friends at Luckett. So I mean, the list is sort of long. But we're also open to conversations and are happy to talk with people about needs that they're seeing in the community.
Or how we can collaborate
Yeah,
together.
absolutely. Yeah, we're much stronger together.
Absolutely. I always say that.
Yeah.
But how can we help the audience who is hearing? If we are business owners or even individual, how can we? What is the need right now? What is the most need?
So I would say, cash is king. We have really good purchasing power, so we have the ability to purchase tax-free by the pallet at a discount, and so we do purchase like that. We have a budget for buying food. And then we also have infrastructure costs that we need to kind of keep everything going. So we love cash donations, financial donations. We can take gifts of stock and all of those sorts of things. So you're welcome to contact us if that's something that you want to be able to give. And then I think certainly we love donations. We like food drives. We appreciate when people do collections for us, and not only can you do collections of food, we love, and you all have done this before, collections of toiletries or diapers or anything like that. So so baby stuff, right? So we're happy to have any of those things. There's some really good ideas on our websites of things that you want to do. Some people like to do birthday bags, or they like to do laundry kits, for example. And so there's ideas for things that you could do on there. So we appreciate that. We do have volunteer opportunities. So you can go online and it says, how can I help? And you have to do an online, you have to sign up and you have to do an orientation, but there are opportunities to do volunteer shifts. We love corporate partnerships like yours, where groups come in and they help us to pack boxes, or they help us to sort food, or different projects that we have. So there's lots of opportunities there. And then, with those corporate opportunities, there's opportunities for sponsorship and engagement, and sometimes we can come to you to do things. And so I think, we're looking for those types of engagement opportunities in the community. So there's a lot of ways to help. I want to just mention our grocery store partners in Loudoun are wonderful, and so we are currently picking up from I think 22, maybe 23 grocery stores across the community. So probably anywhere that you shop is also donating food, and so they donate not only to us but to some of the other organizations in the community, and we will go and take our vans and pick that food up and bring it back, and we have volunteers that'll sort through it and then redistribute it. So that's food that is certainly very consumable, very edible, that normally would go in the landfill. So when we think about the work that's being done here, we're also reducing food waste, and gosh, we have a ton of food waste in this country. I wish we cared more about that, because that food can go to ensuring that people have enough to eat. But really grateful to our grocery store partners for their staff taking the time to pull the food off, save it for us, enable us to pick that up. It really does help a lot of people, and I love the hearts of those partners. They are often asking us, what else can we do to help? What else can we do to help? Because they know that that grocery prices are high right now, and that people are struggling. So that's just a great partnership there.
I want to end this conversation today, Jen. Where do you see the hunger in the next 2-3 years? How are you seeing we're going? You think we'll be stable like where we are? Is that you're seeing more is going to be more hunger? Because we know also the population is growing in Loudoun County. You know, week after week, there's a lot of, you know, buildings and all that. How you're seeing the thing for the next 2-3 years?
I think
what are your thoughts on that?
I think that there is going to be certainly some impacts with the federal changes that are coming down. So there are changes in SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. There are changes in eligibility for Medicaid. So I think we'll see some changes there. I think particularly in Loudoun, as we look at how we have a lot of federal workers here, we have a lot of federal contractors here, and then there's sort of that tertiary, the tertiary jobs that come from helping those households. And so I think we're not really sure, right? We're so centralized around DC, kind of what does that look like? So I think those things will have an impact on hunger. Even just, we've been having good conversations with LCPS, with our school nutrition folks and their outreach folks, because there were some mechanisms where if you qualified for certain programs, you would automatically qualify for like free and reduced lunch, for example. And so, so that streamlining some of those, that access made it easier for families to be able to access meals for their kids. Some of that is going away, and so they're going to have to fill out forms, you know, again, and that just sometimes puts a barrier up for folks. That is just one more thing you have to remember to do in order to access that. So the good news is our schools will feed any child that need a meal, and no one will ever go hungry while they're at school. But at the same time, you know, we don't want to make it harder for families to access the resources that they need. So I'm not exactly sure how it will go. We know we've seen an uptick over the past couple of years. The ALICE numbers just came out yesterday, which is asset limited, income constrained, employed. These are numbers that United Way publishes. And Loudoun stayed at about 24% of our population, and that stayed steady from last year. So I think, you know, it's just sort of interesting whether people, I don't, if I had a crystal ball, I could tell you, but what I do know is that we stand ready to serve, and that we're working really closely with our partners at Feeding America, Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, our community partners here, to ensure and to tell, like being here today and being able to share with the community what we're seeing, to be able to tell that story so that we can ensure that we have the resources we need to be able to serve. And so I think that's really the key, is being transparent and sharing, so people know, and then they can decide, you know, how they want to help or how they want to access resources.
Thank you very much. We will share the website for sure.
And
any information. Everybody will know. Jennifer, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Great work. I can tell you. I mean, you can, like you said, you can, you know, don't do anything, but hunger is hunger. Like you need to eat to survive, right? And supporting the people and the homeless and everyone. So this is great things you're doing in the community, guys. Thank you very much to you, to your team.
Thank you.
To you and to your team. And we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
So,
thank you for having us.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.